How do you guys feel?
Good, man. Really good.
I like the song better than I did at first.
Yeah, that's a mix. That's a mix, folks.
This is a full live mix from start to finish from a recent in-person event we held in Rochester, New York. And you're going to get to watch Jake Codewise, who's a professional mixer and producer, go through the entire process from scratch. If you're struggling to get your own mixes to a professional standard and you have an idea in your head of how you want it to sound, but you can't quite get it there, then this is going to be extremely helpful, because seeing the entire process like this just means there's no stone left unturned, and it'll give you a ton of clarity on where your weaknesses might be. By the way, if you want to attend one of these sessions in real life, then we're holding our first ever public mixing masterclass in New York City on May 8th. So you can come along, watch a full mix in person, network with local musicians and engineers, just have a great time hanging out with people in a cool environment, talking about audio all day and actually watching this process in real life, which is really cool. There's an X factor about being in the room that's hard to describe, but it will help you make a ton of progress, and you'll probably find you make more progress than months of watching YouTube videos in isolation. So if you want to learn more about that, again, it's happening in New York City at a secret location in Chelsea in Manhattan on May 8th, 2025. I'll leave a link below if you want to learn more about that. Okay, let's dive straight in. Over to Jake. Enjoy.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
So I'm starting from a blank session here. New session with vocal effects. So this is a template, right? But my template's a little bit different than I think most people's. This is it.
Oh, gotcha.
Do you
It's
do
already
the
got
same-
the sends.
Do you do the same vocal chain like all the time?
I do not do the same vocal chain all the time. I process it from scratch, right? But these aux tracks here are all usually my starting point.
So you have them in there ready to go if you need them.
Yep, exactly. So this is like parallel compression here. LA2A. I've got a vocal reverb set up here, and that's just like a plate. We've got a vocal slap here. So it's
Is a vocal slap?
a
delay?
slap delay.
Okay.
Yep, it's like a short kind of. It's a slap delay. It's
Like
this
John-
rate, it's
John
an eighth note.
Lennon, solo albums
Feels like
kind of
slap.
delay.
You'll hear it. You'll hear it.
Rockabilly guitar.
Just listen to a John Lennon solo album.
There you go. There you go. And then on my vocal delay, this is like my longer delay. I start on a half note. I may dial this back or change any of these kind of delays and reverbs depending on what the track calls for. I also have a room reverb set up here. It's just a medium room, half a second. Again, we can change that later if we need to. And then we have a hall here. So that's a 3.5 second decay time on that. It's a large church setting. So again, we can change any of this stuff at any time. This is just kind of like my go-tos, my starting point, so I can kind of dial some stuff in relatively quickly here, right? And then I bust those all together to their own folder called All Wet Effects. I know that the tempo of this song is 108. So change the tempo, and then we're going to start to drag some tracks in here. Beep, boop, boop, beep. Cole Ritter, Chasing the Dream. Here are our tracks. Beep. Beep.
Someone you worked with before?
Nope. I've never worked with this artist's tracks or this artist. This was given to me by Mad Records. And this is the first time I'm working with the track. I heard a little snippet of the song. So we're going in fresh today. Here it is. So first thing I'm going to do is save this session. On my work drive, beep boop, Cole Ritter, Chasing the Dream. This is exactly how we teach you to do it, right? Got all our different files, how we organize things. I'm going to put it under sessions. Chasing the dream mix. Saving that as a package and copying the audio files into the package. So in case I want to transfer this session elsewhere or move it somewhere, it's not going to be reaching for files that aren't in the same directory or same location, right? Pretty straightforward stuff. Any questions about any of that?
And the tracks were already labeled, right? So that it labeled, like the title of the track imports as well?
Yep. Yep, track's already labeled.
Drum sum.
Drum sum. So we do not even have, it looks like, individual drum tracks for this one. So there's going to be a lack of control or flexibility there, but we may not need it. You know, it just is what it is. That's what we get.
So do you use the summing stack in Logic? Like,
Oh yeah,
Like,
you know it, baby.
what's it called? Like Shift Command D or something like that?
Yes, that's the shortcut key. I don't even know what the like if you ask me what shortcut keys are, I don't know.
But I can't
But I
remember
know,
what it's called.
but it's like second nature.
Your fingers now.
Yeah, my fingers now.
Right click on the track.
Yeah.
And then you get it.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, or just right click. Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna order these the way that I like to order things. Drums, then bass, and then guitars. So I usually do acoustics first. So it looks like there's an acoustic and then an acoustic lead.
And
Were
the
these
12
all recorded live?
Yes.
12-string acoustic.
Yep, we got a 12 string there. Acoustic Leslie. Okay, that's cool. There's a baritone guitar, or a sax. Let's see. That's a guitar. Okay.
I have a tenor guitar.
Oh, we got some aux crashes in there too. Background vocal, some. So did a lot of consolidating here, which could be good or bad. Well, depending on the kind of work you need to do. Tambourines, shakers, pedal steel.
Icons to the tracks.
So Logic does this kind of cool thing I've noticed, where it'll basically read the title of the track and then automatically icon it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
you're jealous. You're not in Logic. What are you in?
I'm old Ableton.
You're Ableton. Got you.
You know how anything like that.
Gotcha. So we got a synth. We got vocals, and I think that's about it. So these are electrics here. I'm going to start color coding this stuff.
I love the fact that mastering.com, pretty well everybody uses Logic.
You like that?
Yeah,
Because that's what you use?
That's what I'm using. I
Yeah.
kind of know Pro Tools a little bit, but I'm losing it because I don't use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't worked in Pro Tools in a while.
I picked Logic kind of at random, and I'm so glad I did.
There's a lot of great things about it, man.
It's easy.
Yeah, a lot of really great things about it. Then we've got purple. I'm just bussing these like instruments together.
There are your summing stacks, Brendan.
Yep, that's my summing stacks there, Brendan. I'm just moving through them really fast. What I've also been doing these days is taking all of these and routing them, like all my instruments, and routing them to like an all instrument bus.
Like a mix bus kind of thing.
Yeah, you've been doing that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your logic? What is your purpose for that?
For routing them all to a
Yeah.
like a single instrument bus, in case I want to do any kind of like automation that affects all of the instrumentation. You know how we were talking earlier about creating silences, doing silences in the instrumentation? If I want to do that kind of stuff, it's easier to like mute the instrument
Pull them
bus.
all out.
Yeah, than it is to like go and create the automation for all of these. Right?
So mostly volume automation you're talking about?
So some volume automation moves, yeah. Yep, usually that kind of
Solo
stuff.
the vocals.
I've been playing with a little bit of like instrument bus compression also, which I don't usually do. I don't usually do like a mixed bus compression, but I find that putting it on the instrument bus is yielding me some pretty cool results. Well, anyway, just experimenting.
Yeah.
Cool. There's that. Everything's set up. I'm gonna take.
Put 'em as stems also easier
Oh yeah.
to do that way.
Exporting. You're saying just exporting is easier in
Well,
in Logic,
stems,
or
if you wanted, the reason you were routing everything to an individual bus, like if you wanted to stem master it later,
oh sure,
I was just adding to
sure, yeah. You know, we can isolate them easily. You know, just a solo on a single bus. Yep, totally. This is where we normalize. Yep, you know. So we're gonna do individual regions, peaking no higher than -10.
Can you explain that to me?
Yep.
I've never done that before.
Yep, totally. We do that so that we get some headroom on these tracks. So watch what happens when I undo this, right?
Right.
See how hot those tracks are? And if I were to play this drum bus, check it out. You know, we're at -0.1 right now. We got no headroom there. And what's going to happen when we bring all of our tracks in?
Yeah. So
We're going to clip.
normalizing makes them all
We're
the
going to
same
clip.
size?
We're going to overload the mix bus,
Yeah.
right? So normalizing, exactly, makes them all
It's like averaging them.
the same volume that we specify,
Normalizing is a misleading term, I think.
right? So yeah, I don't know why it's named that.
So
but
that means none of the tracks will go above
is.
that limit that you
You're right.
set.
exactly.
Everything is below -10.
Should be
And you
just like
set that limit
averaging
at
them.
-10.
So yeah, you'll
The
see.
highest
Check it out.
peak on each track is no higher than -10.
Right.
So you're
Dropping off
doing
every-
everything, every track.
Yep. Every track, just selecting every single region,
Wow.
and then going to individual regions. I want each individual region to peak no higher than -10 decibels, right? And then when I apply this process,
Okay, well that's my takeaway. That's,
Oh, we ain't done yet. Sit back down.
And it's also bringing up low tracks, is correct?
correct.
ah.
Anything,
Oh, it is?
anything that's lower,
Game changer.
that.
yeah, it's bringing up lower tracks and it's bringing down higher tracks.
Working man's
Right.
volume balance before you volume balance.
Gotcha.
Right. So
Okay,
now
that's
when we play this track, check this out. We've got plenty of headroom.
Uh-huh.
And we're gonna have that amount of headroom on every single one of these tracks. So now when we get our volume balance, we don't have to worry about that mix bus
I
clipping.
wish I knew about that sooner.
It doesn't work on MIDI tracks.
It
Just so
does
you know.
not work on MIDI tracks,
Give
correct.
Logic at least.
You need to have all audio, which you should be working with if you're mixing anyway.
Yeah,
Right?
I've learned that.
Right? I don't know. I break that. I break that rule sometimes.
This is the most asked question
Yeah.
with membership platform, so I literally took a video.
All my old stuff is like that, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Say that again.
Question is being asked a lot in the membership platform too. And
The-
people asking why do we normalize?
Why do we normalize? It's headroom. It's really that's it. That's the
That was a gigantic thing for me. I couldn't figure. I had to compress
Oh, that
everything.
was
Everything
huge.
was too
Yeah.
loud. Like I didn't even know about.
I was,
gain staging or anything.
Sitting in on a mix from a guy I know for a long time, and he puts a gain plug on it in every track.
Hmm.
Oh no,
that's what Rob used to do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
that's a
I
lot.
wonder if that's a common thing for
That
some people.
that's what Rob used to do. Put a gain plug in or a trim plug in at the top.
Yeah.
You know,
Do
it's
you guys do that for automating? Like if you want automated, then, so it doesn't affect
Yes.
the slider.
Yeah, but not for gain
Also, you can do
staging.
the
I don't do
polarity
it for
that way,
gain
too.
staging.
Well, not every DAW operates like this. Like Studio One, like just got like a few versions ago. Like they put in a macro for you to normalize and peak. Like, but before you had to put it like a gain button.
I think you were the one that told me that too.
Remember that?
Yeah, it's a -12 though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if there's no real downside to using this normalize function, right? There's
No.
other manual ways to gain stage, but
But you can set your normalize for a -12 if you want.
The only downside is that you're saving yourself a ton of time.
And the
sounds like an
beautiful waveform
upside.
too.
Darn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got beautiful looking waveforms there.
Yeah, not too shabby. So now, bring everything down, and we'll start getting a volume balance. Well, any questions before we get into that? No?
I was gonna say you can. What if you set your normalize for -12 or
Go for it.
lower? It's all up to you. kind
Yep.
of thing.
Yep.
Seems to me -10's a little bit high.
Well, it's totally up to you. Whatever you want to do. I usually end up in a nice spot on my mix bus by putting everything at -10.
Right.
That's usually
before
like,
plugins.
but it doesn't really matter as long as you're not clipping on your mix bus, and you're also not making the tracks too low. You know, I wouldn't go lower than, I don't know, if you wanted like a low number, I would say somewhere between -10, -15,
Yeah, you don't want to.
probably good.
I have
Some
trouble
people say
adjusting.
-18 also. You know, that's
18.
kind of like the one that you hear kind of floating around, but
-16.
-18.
18.
You
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
the waveform though if it's like -18. Like it'll be difficult to see the waveform.
Yeah, you got to hit the waveform enlarge button
Oh, okay.
for sure if you're going to do a
have
-18.
Logic too? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Time to switch over.
Dark flags
Oh my god.
When I use plugins, I have a hard time adjusting to keep the peak the same. You know what I mean? Like you put
Yeah.
compression, and then it makes a hell of a lot louder,
Yeah.
and then
You got a level match.
you level match, but it never sounds the same. It's maybe because I'm.
It shouldn't if you're applying compression. Like if you're applying a process, it shouldn't sound the same.
Well, I don't know. Something about my ears.
We'll get there.
Well, thanks.
We'll get there. Yeah.
You can highlight that because you can't assume I know anything.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here, dude.
I know, but it's so late in the game. I'm still.
Ah,
a
you
dope.
good. You good. Let's get it going.
I learned all this on Fix the Mix. I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
I haven't
third
gotten
one,
to
I
this
was
section
trained.
yet.
Yeah.
So I learned
Yeah,
it
yeah,
on
yeah.
there.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. All right, let's jump in. We'll get a.
Starting with drums.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with drums here.
Any why to that for you when you?
I just traditionally have always started with drums. You know, it's the way that we teach it is to start with an anchor element,
Right.
right? So decide what your anchor element is. That could be the guiding principles are like something that drives the song and is important to the song. And this could be vocals, it could be drums. It's typically vocals and drums, right? Like those are the things that like drive a song forward. But if you have, you know, a vocal and acoustic guitar and the acoustic guitar is strumming, you know, maybe you start with the vocal and then bring the acoustic guitar in. The point is to select like an anchor element that you can start with and then mix everything else around it. That's the idea here, right? So for me, my anchor element is going to be my drums, and I'll mix everything else around it.
And is that global for you, or is that particular to this tune?
It's pretty global for me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's pretty global for me. It's like kick, snare, vocal.
Uh-huh.
Could we hear a little bit of the? Oh, we can't hear it now.
Well, we're gonna.
You turned down the volume.
We're about to. And then I'm moving to my vocal.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a
Maybe. I mean, it looks pretty stable. Like it looks like it's been processed, right? So we've at least got some dynamic control happening there.
When you bring that to a level that,
Yep.
I mean, you start at 0. Yeah.
Yep. I might touch it later, but for the most part, it would be something like a decibel or two in one direction or the other.
But the idea is to anchor that at the volume point.
Unity?
And then
Yep.
to add things in relation to that.
Correct. Yep.
Do you prefer this listening level in your own home studio as well? This listening level?
I'm actually that's a great question. I'm actually trying to learn the space at the same time that I'm demonstrating to you guys. So I don't really know what this space sounds like. That's why I also have my trusty Bayer Dynamics here to check, make sure I'm not going crazy. But we're gonna do our best here. See what we got.
Strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high.
So this is one of those instances where I'm actually not going to use the drums as my anchor element. I'm going to use the vocal and the acoustic guitar because I can hear this song, for me, I can hear this song being written with the vocalist just sitting on a porch with an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
right? So starting from that point and having the drums a little bit more laid back in the mix is kind of the vision that I'm having for this right now. I typically work with metal and hard rock, so I want those drums in those genres to just be like slamming in your face at all times, right? And I'm used to singers like trying to scream over all the rest of the instrumentation, but this is a bit of a different approach. Bit of a different style. Yeah, it's super cozy. That's a great way to describe it. So we're gonna start with vocals and acoustic as kind of like our anchor elements, and then I'm gonna bring these drums back
Yeah, I could even think
in the
like
mix here.
The writer would be like, do I have drums on this?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right.
At some point, that was a question probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much do we want to? How
Do-
big do we
do
want
we
to
even
make it?
have
Yeah.
them? Yeah.
How many guitars are there in here? And you have to decide
Um,
which one's the most important, I guess.
Yeah, these 5 acoustic tracks here and then 4 electrics.
Wow.
So like what's the core of this song? That's kind of what I'm going through and what I'm thinking. What's the core?
Is
Lead
it
vocal, acoustic guitar.
Is it recorded in mono, the acoustic guitar?
Let's see. Yep, this acoustic is. What about this one? We have another one.
A dream, living
So, yes.
in between 17 and 70. I'm high,
That's the vibe.
high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Yeah.
Nothing on the vocal, that's just the mic.
Yep, that's just a dry vocal.
Yeah. Because it sounds really good.
Oh, yeah. Good tracks. We have, let's see. They might be compressed a little bit here on the way in, right?
On the way in, yeah.
I'll die.
I don't like it.
Chasing a dream.
So we've got a super chill track.
Chasing a dream.
And we were just talking about our anchor elements. You know, what are we gonna kind of prioritize here as we start the volume mix? I'm thinking vocal, acoustic are kind of like the main elements here. And then we're sticking the drums in there, kind of laying them back in the mix a little bit. And then we'll mix everything else in around them.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Yes.
I'm
Guitar tracks, would you ever want to mix all the guitars together first and then mix to that?
I like to pick out like the ones that I feel like are contributing the most to the emotion of the song. Right? Like I like to start just by saying, hey, like what's the thing that's establishing the rhythm here? Which guitar is it? Which one or which pair of guitars is it?
Yeah.
And then everything else is kind of like candy. You know, like, excuse me, like this 12 string, like what purpose is this serving? It's kind of like, it's going to be shimmer on,
Shimmer, color, yeah.
at the top of each phrase,
I'll
right?
die.
Sprinkle that in later.
Exactly. That's the thought.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. Electric, we're gonna have a slide guitar in there, you know, little phrases here. We'll see.
Chasing a dream. Between 17 and 70. I'm high. High.
Sitting in a leather chair?
Yup. That's chair squeaks right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez.
And Jen
You could EQ that out probably, right?
I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet.
Like a didgeridoo.
the South American instrument, is that it? I think it's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's purpose. It's intentional.
It's like somebody has a
It
bad,
must be, because
somebody has a bad diet.
Yeah.
yeah, I know. That was a bit farty.
Chasing a dream. Living in between 17 and 70. I'm high. High on.
Just shaker player, just like really into it. Yeah, just like.
Yeah, right.
In a dream.
Just exploring these tracks a little bit.
Memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel.
Wilco vibes.
Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't forget. And I'll die
Silent.
chasing a dream. Living in between 17 and 70. high, high on memories.
The bass has a weird quality. Yeah.
Some fret noise.
Fuzzy or something.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that.
it just sounds like a DI bass. You know, we'll reamp it. We'll put an amp on it and clean it up.
But at least I'm free.
Nice song.
Yeah.
Let's do another pass. Let's get everything in.
Let me ask a question just about peaking.
Of course.
So I often find as I'm going through this that I'll get to a point where when I've got everything in, I'm now peaking. Is there an early mistake that I have made?
Are you normalizing?
Yep.
You're normalizing? Yeah.
You just
Do you
normalize
just
lower.
pull everything? Do you just highlight everything, pull it down?
I do. Yeah, I do. So if I find that I'm peaking like that, I'll go to like all my buses
Sure.
and just go,
Beep. Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
That's all I'll do.
It felt like cheating.
No.
Too easy.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does feel like cheating.
And I guess the other thing is just turn up your speaker. Like just
If you're not
I'm mixing-
clipping.
If I'm mixing too low.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just actually just turn
Yes.
up the volume on my
I
output.
feel you on that.
Exactly. Anyway.
I guess it's a little late for this, but if I was producing this, I would recommend a bridge for the key change or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
like back and forth with those major seventh chords. It's sleepy and
Too sleepy for you?
This is going on a chill play.
Well, you can make your own songs.
I know, and I do. That's why I have so many goddamn chords. I get bored easily.
What's the artist number? I'm making my call.
Yeah, do that.
Something a little more
I thought you'd be
upbeat.
thinking that though.
Do that.
No, I'm the only one thinking that.
Not at this stage. At this stage, the song is the song.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just mixing it.
Yeah.
You know, the vision, all of those decisions have already been made. You know.
Because I was listening to the pre-production stuff in mastering.com.
Yeah, you might be. That's like where your head's at right now.
Yeah.
But it's also target for the song, right? So if the target is radio, that's maybe a different target than the song. Maybe they wrote this. to get,
Yeah.
Like I know that chill playlists are huge,
Yeah.
and I want to get on a chill playlist and get into sync or whatever. You know, the target.
Or maybe it's just what resonates with the artist.
Totally,
Right.
totally.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like the emotion that the artist was going through at the time and like just really feeling, you know? That's the message. You know?
And we're also gonna hear like elements that we haven't heard yet that will add some whatever.
Totally, some flavor. Let's jump back in here, guys. See what we got. What's up, Barry?
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between. I'm high, high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Catch these guitars on the next pass.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high, high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
See, that's really interesting and well thought out and intentional production here, right? So if we just listen to this instrumental portion, we're hearing a ton of call and response happening, right? There's always some hook or melody to latch onto at any given point in the song, whether it's up here, up front in the mix, or back here in the mix, right? Like, for example, between these. Right?
Different ranges too.
Yep, different ranges. Here we have pedal steel happening once we start now putting in all of these melodies. That pedal steel. And everything sitting in its own ranges, right?
Yeah.
Like a harmonica, like this instrument, is not conflicting with the low kind of tone of this Barry, right? It's the sound selection. It starts at the sound selection, right? Really like where this is sitting already. I like the laid back kind of nature of the drums. I like where everything else is kind of starting to fit into place here. Any questions before we do one more pass?
Sound good.
You're just doing volume right now, right?
Just volume, just bringing things into the mix and getting to know the song and the room that we're in also. Trying to get a handle on the environment a little bit here. First time I've worked in this room.
I'm excited to hear the vocals in this. Reminds me of the, you know that Robin Hood song by, it was a Disney movie, that ooh-la-la-ooh-la.
Yeah.
Roger Miller.
His voice?
Yeah.
He reminds you of that voice?
It's got some
Nice.
of that to it. I really like that.
What were you saying, Heather?
No, I was thinking if we weren't here, would you mix in your headphones in here? Or no? You just sit like you are now and get used to the
He doesn't know what it's
I
like
don't
with
know.
Nobody sitting around.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe?
Because I bet you it would sound different if you were alone in the room.
I can do both. You know, I could stick my headphones on and still have the, you know, you guys hearing the music. I don't know. It's kind of a fun challenge.
Isn't sounding someone asks like, oh, how do you like play with Pan Girl and balance that out? And other people are like, oh, my headphones, and I'm just sitting there like, I've been using my AirPro pods or whatever.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it sounds like outside.
Yeah. Who was it? Depp was saying he's done mixes with the pods. But he just knows them. He just knows the, yeah.
It had to be a habit because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do it.
I remember wondering why people don't mix in earbuds.
Some people
That's
do.
what they're meant. Like that's how people usually listen to stuff.
Exactly. Some people do.
Right.
You know?
I usually do my final listen after I master something in my kitchen on my Bluetooth speaker. 'Cause
Right.
That's where I listen to music.
You know it. Yeah, you know the speaker, you know the
Yeah.
environment.
I'll
See,
listen to other songs and then I listen to mine like, oh,
yeah.
that sounds different.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't care. I don't care. If you know the listening environment, if you know what you're working with, like whatever gets you the result.
Yeah, it used to always be I would go to the car last, and the low end was always.
Oh yeah,
If
don't
it was too low.
don't go to the
out of
car.
Then it was too much. Yeah.
Don't you go to the car.
Although now I'm doing it better.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a problem. So
Does that
that's
mean you
really
have
cool.
low end buildup in your room? Is that what that means?
Which I do.
Yeah, me
My
too.
room is bad. Yeah.
Gotta fix your room.
I'm
Yeah.
working.
We'll get there.
I'm working on
You
it.
can wait to bring the
Hard to
vocal
get the
in
low end in.
till later.
So I'm gonna bring this second vocal in now
Okay.
for this pass. Yeah, everything that we've missed up to this point, we'll bring in on this pass.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, there's another electric in there. The squeaky chair, yeah.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
Heard another bass flub.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies.
Just that little bit of atmosphere.
17 and 70.
Yeah.
So that instrument is the instrument because they brought it in with all that effect.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to adjust that delay or
Nope.
that reverb. That's a decision they made when they brought it in.
Yep, that's a non-negotiable.
It's a non-negotiable.
I would typically get wet and dry tracks,
I see.
right? So I would typically, if I was working with a client, I would have them give me, what their vision was, so the wet track here, and then a dry, so that I have the option, to have the control if I need it. Right. In this scenario, it's okay with me in this scenario because it sounds good, right?
It's just like super wet and dreamy.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of me feels like if there was a dry, it'd be nice to kind of give them that and have some definition. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly. Like, work with what you got.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Not far off for where I kind of want things to sit, right? Some of these elements sounding a little bit too loud to me in the phones, but slightly. I just kind of like pulled those down. So I'm feeling pretty good about the volume balance here. Any questions?
Did they give you a reference mix?
No.
Oh yeah.
Is that a normal?
Nope. I'm not going to check a reference until like at the end.
I mean, sorry, I don't mean another band's reference. I mean, did they give you a here's my shot at this mix? So
Yeah.
The one that they mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like a demo from these guys. If I was working with a client, I would always have reference tracks. I would always say, hey, where are we trying to take this thing?
Sure.
What's the target? What do you guys feel is the target? Or what do you like? Give me some mixes, and what do you like about them?
Sure.
Do you like how the drums hit? Do you like how the guitars sound? What's the guitar tone like? Do you like where the vocals are sitting in the mix? Well, what about the bass do you like? Things like that. Or sometimes it's just like, I want to sound like this band.
Yeah.
And they're very specific. Like, I love everything about this mix. I love how everything sounds. Make it sound like this, or close to this. So typically, in a typical scenario, I would be getting that stuff. I don't have that with this. This is just...
You don't have something that they exported as a single track for you to...
Nope. Nope, just going by gut here.
Okay.
Yep, going by gut, going by instinct. You know, just trying to lean into the emotion in my own way as an engineer. I have a little bit of freedom there. That being said, we will pull in some reference tracks just to make sure that we're not way out of bounds.
Where would you start looking for something like that?
Spotify. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Does it remind you of something? Because I don't think I'm a
You know what I'll do?
vocabulary to.
Yeah, so to find a reference or references for this track, I'm just going to go through country playlist
Okay.
and find something dreamy.
Roger Miller reminds me.
I'm going to find like 3 to 5 tracks that like sound kind of dreamy and just bring them into the session and use them as like, hey, does this kind of like ballpark with
Right,
these,
right.
you know?
When you pan those, like I noticed those, are those supposed to be identical guitars there? It looks like it's that ACO and the gut string.
These here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing with the width there. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm 100% on it.
Fair enough.
I kind of like the width that's happening because I don't know. I'm used to just panning. I work in rock, so like I'm used to just panning guitars left and right. But we'll see as we kind of continue here. There's some other panning things that kind of need to be done, I feel like, in this also to kind of create some separation, but we'll get there. I got to take a break first. Guys, okay for a quick break?
Awesome,
Okay, sweet.
Awesome.
Dope.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Getting back in here.
Instruments are in now.
All the instruments are in now. Next steps, fix the bass. Yeah, let's take a look.
Show us.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go and search for another one and just copy and paste it.
Oh, you're gonna replace it?
Yeah.
Another slide like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find one. That's the problem spot, so I'm actually gonna mark it.
Time rich, cash.
So I think it's in a
Time rich, cash poor. Hard living, hotel floor. Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't. Some things you can't forget. And I'll die.
I am. I'm gonna call this spare parts. Right.
Sunrise and sunset. Sunset, sunrise and sunset. Some things. Sunrise and sunset. Sunrise and sunset.
That's cool. It's kind of preserving the feel of the slide without the.
I don't know if we'll do it though.
Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't forget.
You know, I might just, if I can't find another one in here, I might just get rid of it.
Pour. Hard living, hotel floor. Sunrise and sunset. Some
Not quite. Let's listen again.
sunrise and sunset. Something.
Right? It's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't forget. And
And we gotta scan one more time through here to find a couple of those. Doo-doo. I'm wondering if that was a copy paste. I bet you it was.
That the mistake.
Yep.
Copy pasted.
Yep.
Or the whole section.
Yeah, the whole section was probably copy pasted.
Just the verse and-
And yep. It's the same part. Yeah, it's the same part.
You're right.
That's what we're gonna cut out. Boom, boom, boom.
That's what you need. That one's nice and clean.
I might. Yeah, I'm gonna take that all out. Just gonna take that section there. That's what we're gonna use. And we're just gonna crossfade those. And then we're gonna check to make sure they're nice and clean.
Things you can't forget, and I'll die.
That sounds good. And then over here,
Something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night.
good. Done.
I wonder if the bass player would be offended. Like, took my slides out.
Sorry. That's what it is now. And I went ahead and just committed that. And I can delete my spare parts track. Cool.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between.
Squishy.
Sounds like my dog going at it with a toy duck.
Oh, wow. Can't unsee that now.
If he's faster.
We're gonna need to edit this video.
What the hell? Can you EQ that out?
There you go.
There you go. Brilliant.
All gone.
Between 17 and 70, I'm high, high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Now we can swing these hard left and right, see what it does.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high
I actually prefer the shaker, the one shaker up the middle.
on memories, slave.
There's something about the filling in the subdivisions there. Chicka, 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 chicka. That I think is really important to kind of keep focus. So I'm actually going to keep this in the middle. And I'm just going to use one. I'm not even going to use the farty one.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
See, the panning on this is all good. These are stereo tracks and they're kind of wide. So this, I think we've got some flexibility with.
All night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
Yeah. So that's important to have in the middle, especially for that section. This point.
Is that a stereo?
It is not.
Is that mono?
It is not. This is a mono. It seems like a guitar that was taken right from like either mic'd, a cab was mic'd, or right from a pedal. It sounds like a cab to me. But we're gonna widen that later.
I'm high, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
I'm gonna slightly pan this pedal steel.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories.
I wonder, let's see. What happens?
Chasing a dream.
I wonder if we can split these out. So if I were to just, here we go. Just a click and hold. Okay, what's a left?
Do that again, sorry.
It's just a click and hold. Just
Right click?
just left click and hold. And then you can select mono, stereo, left or right channel.
Living in between.
Okay, so there's a little bit of both in the left and right channels. That's what I was checking for. So click, hold, stereo. So this is what we get for the background vocals. No independent control of the different harmonies.
Chasing a dream. Living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melody,
Cool.
but at least I'm free.
Okay, just jumping back, finishing up some panning stuff on the pedal steel. We've got that kind of tilted to the left a little bit.
And I'll die chasing a dream. In between 17 and 70. I'm high.
What's that?
Question. So are you trying to find tracks that complement each other? You can pan one to one side and one to the other side so they balance each other out?
I'm just listening for kind of like conflict and ways that we can, that's number one. Is there any conflict happening?
Yeah.
Number two is enhancement opportunities. So is there a way we could use the stereo field a little bit more? You know, can we use this dimension a little bit more and make this mix a little bit more interesting than things just going up the center, or basically things going up the center, right? But the producer's done a really good job of kind of like making sure everything sounds nice and balanced, and is using the stereo field in a really kind of nice way already. So I'm just kind of like hunting and pecking for opportunities here.
Okay,
basically.
So most of those were already stereo tracks. the
Yes.
guitars, so
Yep.
You don't have to worry. About
Totally. Yeah, the panning's already been baked in.
Okay.
So going along with the producer's choice here. So this sounds good.
Slave to the melody.
Only other thing might be this Barry. I might pull that to the right just a little bit. We'll see if that actually plays well.
What if from the production stage they, like that's a stereo track, but what if they bounced it like in mono and didn't really do anything to it? Like it started out as mono, but they ended up bouncing it in stereo, so really no width.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything.
Well, no, I didn't. That's not. I mean, like, could you still play with it though?
Totally.
Like, panning wise.
Yep. Totally. I can play with any of these. I can convert any of these to mono and then pan them to a specific location. But, they already sound good in the context of the mix.
Right. Oh,
So I'm not going to touch that, I'm not going to touch that stuff. Let's see what that Barry sounds like, just leaning.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young.
I'll just do like a subtle move and call it a day.
For the chase.
I'll just pop those I'm just 3 over to the left. Do you hear that? It's still narrow, right? But they're not directly overlapping each other in the center of the mix. Here's over the center. Okay, now here we've got, I'll just do 5 to the right and then 5 to the left. It's very minor. Switch it back to the other way. It's a subtle thing,
Little character. You add a little character to it.
and a little bit of separation, right?
Yeah,
It's just
sounds cleaner.
You
Or
hear
clearer.
them better.
Yeah, there's a little bit of separation happening there too. And it just makes it a little bit more interesting than just jamming it up the center. We have 2 ears, most of us.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take
Let's check out that harmonica also. See what that does? Okay. So we've got 3 distinct instruments that come in there, right?
Yeah.
And that all play really important roles. Now they have a tiny little sliver of their own space, even though they're all narrow. And we can exaggerate this too if we wanted to, but I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling like the subtlety is the way to go here. Although I don't hate that. Right? Harmonica, Barry, acoustic. Exactly. It's what I call a handoff.
It's
Right.
also, Dylan-esque. I've got the whatever the thing that holds the harmonica.
Yep, the harmonica holder.
2 on one side and 1 on the other side? Or do you have 1 in the middle?
I have baritone, acoustic guitar, the call and response, and then harmonica right up the middle. That's what we have now. I want to hear how that sounds in the beginning, though, because without the harmonica. Yeah. It's a little bit wider, 15 to the left, 15 to the right. And this has an opportunity to shine in the center there, in that section, right?
Yeah.
So it's just separation, guys. It's just creating separation with some panning.
Get up on stage. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between.
Same reason I did this, right? Just decluttering the center and making use of this stereo field, right? The left to right spectrum here. Oh, crap. We'll see. Sounds okay to me.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Beautiful.
You have the background vocals in the center too.
I do, but here's the thing about those background vocals. It's a stereo track.
Chasing a dream.
It sounds like those voices are panned very narrow, right? They're not full left and right. They're still they're in the same track. They're still panned a little bit, but not fully, right?
Living in between.
And that's baked in.
17 and 70. I'm high on memories.
Can I ask you another
Slave
question?
Absolutely.
So if those background vocals were a mono track, what would you do then to make them
Like if they were both like stacked right on top of each other.
If there was only one track that you got from them and it was mono, what would you do to it?
So would this hypothetical mono track have one singular voice in the center, or both harmony parts in the center?
Say
In mono.
I don't know, say they were all in the center.
Yeah. Multiple voices just on a mono track. I would call the client and tell them to give me my isolated vocals.
I mean, is there a good way to
What happens?
EQ.
it and change the effects on either side, or like?
You can try some like weird AI stuff, like some split, but
What about?
I don't
splitting
know.
into two mono tracks.
Yeah, and then treat them differently, right?
well, you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't if it was two voices in one singular mono track. You know, just overlapping each other in one mono track. Right.
Aren't they already?
So that would be like this. It would be like doing this, right? It would be, you're talking about, right?
Chasing a dream.
It's a mono track with two voices in it.
Living in between 17 and 70.
So what I would do,
Chasing a dream, living in between.
you have a couple options. Do whatever, you do whatever you want. I would do something, I would just like sample delay it, split it out to the sides.
I die chasing a dream, living in between.
Hear the difference?
Yeah.
You know,
So
and
the sample delay splits it up. Like
it only delays one side,
Ah.
right? So we've got the original mono signal coming from the right now, and then I've staggered the left side about 20 milliseconds, right? Which, makes use of the left and right speakers instead of just jamming it up the center, right? And actually, I like that a lot.
Chasing a dream,
It's nice and wide
Yeah.
living in between.
versus this, right? We can listen to the other one, just kind of A-B it.
Chasing a dream, living in between.
Narrow and now wide.
Chasing a dream, living in between.
I think I'm going to use that. Let's see what we got in the mix. I'm going to say BG wide, and then we have BG narrow.
Chasing a dream, living in between.
Oh, I'm playing them both.
Chasing a dream, living in between. 17 and 70.
The other one?
Chasing a dream, living.
Oh, let's get the panning back.
Chasing a dream, living in between.
I like them both
17 and
for different reasons.
Chasing a dream, living in between. 17, chasing a dream, living in between.
This is what I usually go for.
70.
It's like a wider kind of thing.
Different. They're different.
I think it's just, engineer's choice. I'll give you guys these tracks so you can mix them yourself.
Yourself at grocery. I'll die.
That's why I like the wide ones. It kind of like it presents itself once you hit that impact, right?
Chasing a dream.
You get that big wide boom, that big choral kind of backing, right?
I'll die. Chasing a dream.
And this is not, better or worse. It's just a little bit more intimate.
Intimate is exactly, yeah.
Grocery. I'll die. Chasing a dream.
Like I'm a go big or go home kind of guy, so I'm gonna go with that. Great question. That led us to a cool conclusion there.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing usually, but I end up having like all these background vocals, and I can never figure out how to pan them right or how to widen things
Sure.
the right way. So
Yeah, it's usually thought out in production.
Yeah.
I'm the, yeah,
What
I'm the
the
producer.
stereo and all is
Well,
thought out like when you're recording a background vocal?
Well, it's like layer theory. Like I was talking to Caleb about this the other day. Just and Jake actually, we had a whole conversation about guitar layers the other day, and you got to give it serious thought and planning, because now's when it matters.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Now's when it matters, and you need to. If you're doing the production and you're not mixing it, it's like that's a conversation you gotta have. Otherwise, like he said, it's like I talk to the producer and work it out.
And different creative minds also have different goals and different emotions and different feelings people are going for. So,
Is it unusual to bounce the two harmonies together?
is it unusual to bounce the two
Like
harmonies
why did
together?
they make that choice?
Like in this scenario, they made that decision in the production process, and instead of giving me the isolated tracks so that I could make that call, they had something in mind, right? Or they just didn't give me the isolated tracks,
Right.
right? It could be either way.
Isolated, and you had a separate track for each of the BBs, then what would you do? Would you just pan them one?
Yeah, so I usually ask for harmonies and things like that. What I typically like to do is ask for doubles of each harmony so that I can pan them left and right the same amount,
Right.
right?
So each BB is balanced.
So I've got a third up. Okay, I've got a harmony a third up. I've got two of them. One take goes to the right, the other take goes to the left. I've got the fifth. I can put, I've got two of them, one to the right, one to the left, so I get it like that nice kind of big balanced kind of wall of sound. That's my style. That's what I tend to like, and that's what I tend to go for. That's not the only way, right? Like we have something like this where you have a couple background vocals, boop, boop. Kind of narrow, but there's only one harmony on one side and then the other harmony on the other side, and they're different parts supporting the lead in very narrowly, right? Narrowly? Is that a word? Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then, you've got all different degrees in between. You could have harmony 1 here, harmony 2, harmony 3, harmony 4, all different parts spread around, it's experimenting. Yeah, it's fun. I think it's fun. I think it's fun.
It is fun.
Anyway. Yeah. So, no right or wrong, but I dig this, so I'm going with it. Thank you.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melody.
So my next play here is going to be getting those vocals just right. That's going to be the next thing, right? We'll take care of those vocals. Why? Because that's clearly a singer-songwriter, vocal-centric kind of song. That's the spotlight. Like, that's where a ton of the emotion, the message is coming from. So getting that thing right is my priority here. And we're going to do that after the break. Before we do break, any other questions?
You made a track note, I think in the mixing mode below the track. Can
Yep.
you just quickly see how you found that toggle?
Here?
Yeah, how'd you turn that notes track?
Oh, yeah. You can right-click anywhere
Okay.
in Logic and go to Channel Strip Components
Yeah. Okay.
and then turn on Track Notes.
It's at the very bottom. Okay.
Yep,
Good job.
Track Notes. And then you can type in there. You can also, if you go into Configure Channel Strip Components, which is just kind of like the advanced menu,
Right.
right?
Oh.
It's there too.
Yep, it's in here too. And you can also give yourself more space, right? So 1 line versus 2 lines versus 3 lines
So is that the
here.
notes?
Configure Channel Strip Components is that one right here. But it's just a right click anywhere in the mixer. All right, let's jump back in here, guys. We're gonna do some vocals. Let's take a listen, see where we're at.
Act strange pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between.
So first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna separate these vocals out because they're gonna need just different kind of processing. You know, they're quieter,
Pocket
they're
change.
airier,
Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
you know, it needs some de-essing on that bad boy. And then here we've got,
I'll die high on memories.
full voice, right?
Pocket change.
So I'm gonna split those out.
Time rich, cash poor. Hard living, hotel floor. Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't forget. And I'll die chasing a dream.
Yep, so I'm gonna pull out this section as well. We're gonna get really, really tight on this. Make sure we got a good edit point there. Looks pretty good to me. Not bad, not bad. And crossfade this, just check it.
And I'll die, and I'll die.
And I'll die. Nice.
You do de-essing first?
I did not do anything yet.
I know, but do you generally?
You know, it depends. It depends. In this scenario, I think I will. Just add a few crossfades in here. Fine, fine, fine.
What about the EQ compression argument?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Wait, we're not gonna automate first?
I don't think on
Act strange for some
these vocals.
pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay for
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it's going through something.
act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
All that sounds fine.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
This section here drops down in a little bit, so we'll just kind of like go like that.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how
A little bit more consistent there, right?
that goes.
Doesn't drop down in volume the same way, right? So just kind of like a big kind of macro change there, but I don't feel the need to go in and do all the detail work on every little word here.
But I was thinking like the chorus.
The chorus will do a couple words kind of need to come up front, and there's a couple like tail ends of words I noticed here too, like that will bring up, and like he does these little character things with his voice.
I'm high,
That, right?
cities, but at least I'm free.
So we'll do a little bit of that. I'm gonna grab this for like processing first and just kind of get that sitting where I want it.
Act strange for some pocket.
Very close already, you know.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels. Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream. Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
See how much this de-esser we can pull out of here, because those S's are really bugging me.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
This is where I got to go in and do some manual kind of work on some of these, because they're just popping out too much. The right?
Yeah.
Too much. So I tried the automated tool first. Sometimes it's a slam dunk. Other times you got to do the work, you know.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage.
Stage.
Why was your first choice the compressor?
Just to make it more consistent.
Okay.
On stage. Stay
Just to place it in the mix a little bit easier.
up on stage. Stay
Hear the difference there? Just taking that,
up on stage.
just making that a softer. Ready? Right.
Stage.
Ch, ch,
On stage.
right? Just softening that G.
Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
That chase, right? Right? You guys are like annoyed by the same things that I'm getting annoyed by here? Yeah, yep.
For the chase.
Right? Just softening it a little bit.
For the chase.
Better. I think there's a sweet spot to be
For
had.
the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
It's, right? I like to just control these myself.
All night, it's part of. Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
There's a certain point it becomes unnatural sounding, so it's just kind of finding that sweet spot.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
I think that's okay.
Trade
Like stories. Trade goes stories.
It's an SH thing that is almost a character thing.
Yeah.
I
That's
think he's missing a tooth.
might be.
Yeah, but
Trade goes,
Much better.
trade goes story. Go story. Trade goes story.
I mean, it's
Still there, but not.
Took 'em all.
yeah, it's not like it's not wincy or cringy anymore,
Trade goes stories and see how it feels.
right? It might even still be a little bit cringy.
Go story. Go story. And see go story.
well, because still, it is like a phrase you want to understand.
Right.
'Cause
Ex-
at the end of the phrase, he really throws it away.
Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself at go.
I think I'm okay with this,
Convince yourself,
that phrase.
convince yourself at go. Surreal.
Real.
Real,
Yeah, I want to hear it.
right?
Yeah. That's like the
You're getting it.
Surreal.
Better already.
Surreal.
Kind of ease into it a little bit.
Surreal.
Real. Okay.
It's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels.
This is still bugging me a little bit. Trying to figure out where the
Trade ghost stories and see how it feels.
Is that better?
To convince yourself at go surreal.
And go surreal. Now we can hear real.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between.
Yeah, we might as well just keep going with this, right? Since we're
I
on.
prefer automation as opposed to like a slice and gain and all that.
Yes. Yep, because I get gradual. The question was you prefer automation over like clip gain, and that's because you get control over like ramp ups and
Sure.
ramp like crescendos, decrescendos kind of thing, right? Yeah, we have a little bit more flexibility there and certain things
And you're
sound a
doing
little
like surgical stuff as opposed to like
Yeah.
sections that need to be louder.
Exactly.
Living
Micro versus macro.
Right.
Yeah. In between. Yeah, we'll start just getting these up there. Might as well, since we're on that path.
Yeah.
Call
This
Heather.
one you're doing the automation before the compression.
Yes, and I actually did the automation before, like going into compression. With this one, I just slapped, like in the sequence of things that I put the compressor on first, and then went back because I needed to do the gain automation.
Okay, but then you put the gain first.
Yep, correct. I put it first in the chain,
Okay.
right? So sequentially, I didn't do it in that order, but I ended up putting it first in the chain.
living in between. Living in between 17 and 70.
70.
Is there a difference between gain and volume automation?
Volume is like down here with the fader,
Right.
and gain is before the signal hits the
Right.
fader
So
section.
you never see the faders going up and down.
Exactly. You'll just see like the gain knob.
17 and 70.
You'll see the wavelength changes too. Is that
No.
right? On the gain?
No, you won't see the wavelengths
Oh, okay.
unless you bake this in. You know, you bake the processing in and then reprint it, and then you'll see the differences, which we can do just to show you what that looks like.
17 and 70.
We can do that after.
I'm high.
What is that little nugget? Is this anything good?
on a note.
Solo it.
I'm high.
An
Oh, he's a
emotional kind
smoker.
of thing.
He's a smoker. Yeah. I'm gonna keep it buried, I think.
High on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. Melodies, but at least I'm free.
You catch that? I just got the tail end of that word up there.
Did you just grab an automation thing, or did you just do that so fast?
I just did it super fast.
Okay.
Chasing a dream.
Yeah. Let's see if this was flown. What do you think?
What is that?
Any guesses?
Oh, if it was cut and pasted?
Nope. I don't. Well, wait. Wait.
No.
Hello.
Is it? Is it? It looks the same.
Gosh, it is.
Let's get closer, shall we? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like a match to me. Oh, it's just that first one. Right? It's the same. It's just the first. Wah, wah. Wah, wah.
One way to get the performance you want.
That's right. Wah. And there we are. There's our automation. Yay. Time effectively saved.
So you cut and pasted that section of automation?
Yep.
You
I don't
so to
think
do
that-
that, you highlight the
Yeah, thank you.
automation and copy it, right? And then paste it.
I actually just copied the whole region. So I
With
just
automation.
just command C,
With it.
and then it took the automation with it
If you have the
automatically.
settings right, if
Is-
you have a setting where your automation goes with
Goes
your
with it,
things,
yeah,
then it will
yeah.
do that.
Nice.
I think by default, or doesn't it?
I did used to, and then
I think one or two. Let's check it. Editing, select regions.
forget where it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Automation?
Yeah.
Move track automation with regions.
Yeah, always.
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 Yeah, always, never, or ask. So set it to always.
Yeah. That's nice.
And then it'd be like, yes, yes.
You can always get rid of that, I guess.
That's right. You can always just select it and delete it. Cool. So I feel good about that. Let's just check out this last kind of chunk of vocals here.
Time rich, cash poor,
Yeah,
hard living, hotel floor.
rich. Yeah.
I'm rich, cash poor.
A bit more.
Time rich, cash poor.
Whew. Crap.
Time rich, cash poor. Time rich, cash poor.
A little bit more if we can get away with it.
Time rich, cash poor.
Maybe a little less. Then I'm good.
Time rich, cash poor. Hard living, hotel floor.
I'm okay with that.
Sunrise and sunset.
Okay with that.
Some things you can't forget. And I'll die.
Could you do de-essing in production?
Totally. Yeah.
In production, meaning like
Yeah.
Well,
this guy tends to have mushy S's. Let me put a de-esser on his track while I'm recording it. Is that what you mean?
No, just basically be proactive with some of your processing and bake it in to the track.
Before
Yeah.
you send it to
In
Jay.
production, yeah, before you export to mixing.
Yeah, and sometimes
That's
there's
how
things you
that
sometimes there's things you can do with just the mic placement to like reduce the harshness of the sibilance, right?
Yeah.
So like different angles or like
Oh,
that old
right.
that like pencil trick. You guys familiar with that?
I'm still going over that.
Just like tape a pencil
that
to
section
like
in
the
production.
like this to a mic, right? So like the mic is facing you like this, the capsule's facing this way. Just kind of like tape it like that.
Really?
It breaks up like the wind.
Is it like the octagonal bevels on the pencil? That
I don't know.
side?
I don't know. It's just an old school trick. You know?
So right against the microphone?
Thank you.
Yeah. You just tape it right on the capsule. Give it a shot. I don't know. You're struggling.
Have all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how
Much more listenable now.
to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. I'll die.
So it just makes it easier to sit in the mix, right? So just narrowing this dynamic range a little bit more with compression, and by a little bit, probably quite a bit, right? If I were to bounce this in place, you can actually see like what it's doing,
Okay.
right?
Show us the settings.
So it's, yeah, I'll show you the settings. So we're actually like clamping down on these peaks and bringing the peaks closer to kind of like the meat of the waveform, basically, right?
And
I'm
what
making
you
this.
were hearing like those S's or whatever those airy things were as those dynamics.
So these words,
I'll die.
die,
I'll
right?
die.
Beginning of that word,
Living in between.
living in, right? So living kind of like pops forward in the mix a little bit, and then his voice kind of gets a little bit buried by the instrumentation rather than kind of like standing out front and being just kind of like a solid chunk, right? And then these sections obviously louder, right?
I'm high.
Right? So if we turn off compression here,
Living in between 17 and 70.
right? 1770,
Yeah.
right? Really popping back and forth like that. And compression kind of like smooths all of that stuff out.
Living in between 17 and 70.
Right? Makes it like easier to set in the mix and place it. If we want to turn it up, the whole vocal is going to come up. It's not just going to be some words coming through and other words getting lost in the mix.
And that's just the tool you use and how much drive you're using, or
So this is, yeah, so the way that this particular compressor works is it's not like, this is basically the threshold. So it's like you turn up the input.
Yeah.
Like this has like a fixed threshold, right? So you push the signal into the threshold
Okay.
rather than adjust the threshold up and down. So I'm just pushing the signal into the threshold till I'm getting, I don't know, like it looks like 5 decibels of compression. Just kind of like, I usually kind of push it pretty far. I like the sound of a lot of compression. I just like it.
The attack and the release at all.
So fast attack, fast release. That's just what I start with. Just like clamp down really, really quickly. If you want like the beginnings of words and like consonants to kind of like poke out a little bit, you can play with the attack knob and just kind of like roll that back and forth to see how things kind of sound. That's what I like to do anyway. But
that's actually fast attack on your compressor.
Yeah, on this particular model, yeah, they're kind of backwards.
Right.
Yeah, they're kind of backwards, right?
So output is makeup gain?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
When you first open up the compressor, how do you attach the output and input? Do you hold it?
I hold shift.
Oh, shift.
Yep, you hold shift to move both knobs at the same time. Yep, for this plugin anyway.
And do you have all of your vocals going to a separate bus?
I do. So all of these vocals are, going to a vocal bus. All vocal bus. Which I will also compress. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Cool. Let's DS it.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
This, honestly, I'm just putting this on there as a safety. I don't really hear any issues with the S's on this. Yeah, a little bit.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset. Time rich, cash poor,
Still getting too much.
hard living, hotel floor. Time rich, cash poor.
I'm getting too much rich and cash.
Yeah, his just for the first time heard cash poor as opposed to cash bar.
Right.
Because he's saying cash poor.
Cash poor, yeah.
Rich, cash poor. Time rich, cash poor. Hard, time rich, cash poor. Hard living, hotel floor. Sunrise and sunset. Some things you can't forget. And I'll die chasing a dream. Some things you can't forget. And I'll die chasing a dream.
Nice, okay.
Living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Nice. I like that. Any kind of like EQ changes here?
Time rich, cash poor,
I might actually,
hard living, hotel floor.
yeah, this like this mid-range, I might clean that up a little bit. I like it. I like the character, so I don't want to totally kill it, but we'll see.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor. Time rich, cash poor. 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 Hard living hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I'm time rich, cash poor, hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset.
I'm gonna put these on real quick.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I'm time rich, cash poor, hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget.
It's just a slight kind of bump in the low end there. Soothe. We're gonna soothe it. So I'm gonna take this and just kind of like target that area. And what this is gonna do is attenuate the frequencies that are building up in just this particular area when they build up.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I'll die.
That makes a difference to me. Just that tiny little bit. I don't know if you guys are hearing that.
You were doing that instead of the EQ?
Yes.
Because how is it different?
Yep. Because it follows. Because when when a singer is constantly changing notes like that, it's the frequencies are constantly changing as
it
well.
only kicks in when it's
Exactly. So it basically follows the notes and the pitches and things like that, right?
I think I heard just like slightly more presence as a result, as opposed to
Which-
like less bass as much.
Yes. That's exactly. It's a shift in the
And
like
I was wanting maybe a little more, because what I love in his voice is that slightly higher piece. I like that presency
Yeah.
stuff.
That'll do it. That'll absolutely do it.
Cool.
Yeah, because you're basically like tilting it,
Yeah.
like so less lower frequencies. Of course, you're going to pay more attention to the higher ones. That makes a difference to me. I'm going to keep that.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Not going to overcomplicate it. Not going to overcomplicate it. Just going to bring the same processing over to my lead vocal.
I'm high on memories.
I don't know why this just popped into my head, but instead of I replaced the word with memories with Listerine.
I'm high on memories.
I don't know why I wanted to hit. I don't know.
TMI. Yeah, you want to get messed up on some
You probably will.
Moving on.
Drink smacks while we're at it.
We're gonna take this stuff.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
And I'm just gonna take all of this stuff and I'm gonna do my kind of usual kind of bus processing here. I really like the way, I'm going to do this all in the groups. I love the way that tape sounds on stuff. It's just, it sounds really good to me.
So you're putting it on the vocal bus?
So I'm putting it on the vocal bus here. Yep. And I'm also going to put a little bit of console emulation on here too.
What is that?
So this is introducing just saturation, like a little bit of saturation. It's like if we were to drive a signal through like a channel on the board. We're just doing it in the box. So tape and then some console, right? And this just, it just does something that I really, really like. And I'm gonna just put it on every single bus. It adds harmonics, pleasing harmonics. And I'm gonna play this back for you guys because the best way to kind of describe this is to just show you.
Some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
So there's a little bit more presence for your vocal,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
It just kind of opens everything up. It does this really,
Its nose.
really blows its nose. That's a great way of putting it. Does this really kind of magical kind of thing just for the mix in general, right? It's a very high level kind of thing, but I'm going to do the same thing on the mix bus. I'm just going to switch over to different kind of tape. And I'm going to switch over to, instead of the channel, we'll put on the mix bus one.
This feels almost like a mastering difference to me.
Yeah,
Where you're adding
Yeah.
like the shimmer and
totally.
clarity.
Enhancements.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm doing it on, this is stem mastering, basically. You know, I've got it all boiled down to my stems here, you know, my 6 stems, and then I've got my master,
I never thought about it like
and then this is just your high level kind of polish or sheen, right?
Yeah.
So it's on all the buses and the stereo out.
All the buses and the stereo out. Yep. That's what I like to do. You know, that I just like to introduce a little bit more of that saturation because I think it sounds awesome.
Does that double the amount when you put it on all the buses and the stereo up?
Oh yeah, totally. You're just stacking
Check it
it.
out.
Yeah, you're just stacking it. You're just stacking it up.
icing on icing.
Yeah. So on and off.
I'm rich, cash poor. Some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memory.
To me, it just makes the mix taller,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
It's got more low end, we've got more high end. We're just kind of like filling it out and fattening it up, and it's kind of like creating some depth here too, right?
Feels louder too.
There's definitely a little bit of a gain boost here.
Bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gain boost here. So if we want to try to
Let's just-
get a 1-to-1, probably 2-3 decibels, I would say. Let's go 3, see what that does.
In between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
just a warming. It's like a, yeah, it's a nice kind of, I don't know, it's a nice kind of vibe that I really enjoy. So I like to do that.
Do you do that on all different genres?
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do it for everything. If I'm honest, I push everything through some tape and some console. Yeah.
Jake, could I see the buses opened up just to take a look at your processing on each multi-track real quick?
I have
I
nothing
know.
except for chorus and lead vocal, chorus, and lead vocal verse right now. All right.
That's crazy.
We're
Processing we're using.
yeah, so far. Anyway, we'll do some more fun stuff here.
No,
We-
I mean just that you got this far, like into the mix, you know.
Dude,
and-
that's what happens when the tracks are good.
right.
That's what happens when you pay attention to that stuff, like a lot of the details in the recording. And you guys know that once you have the technical know-how, you're carrying that into your recording sessions and your creative sessions, and you know where you want to end up, right? So it makes that process so much easier
That's
for
using
you.
your ears right there.
And getting it right? Getting it right at the source.
That's awesome.
Let's put some like reverbs and delays and stuff like that in the vocal.
And live for the chase.
What we got here?
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels.
I'm gonna EQ the reverb that I'm sending this vocal to, so I don't get like all that high end in here.
To convince and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
Hear the difference?
Trade ghost stories and see how it feels. To convince yourself that ghosts are
Allows the vocal.
Accentuating the S's.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we don't have snakes, right?
Sure.
Allowing the vocal to kind of step forward and making the reverb sound a little bit warmer.
Which reverb is this?
Verb suite.
Oh,
Yep.
And what
Can't
kind
see
of
properly.
reverb?
It's a plate.
Okay.
Yep, it's a plate.
It's a preset.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so if you go into,
Oh, I see that now.
yeah, you go to the FGBM7.
But you're gonna roll it off a little
Let's
bit,
do-
right? It feels kind of wet to me.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm just demonstrating so you can hear what's going on here. Yep, totally. When we're gonna dial this thing in.
act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels. To convince yourself that ghosts are real.
So that's one way to do it.
Can I ask a philosophical question about reverb?
Totally.
I don't know if it's philosophical. Emotional. So, when you add reverb to a vocal, what are you thinking / feeling about? What does this need? Does this need to fit into this instrumental distance-wise, or do I want to pull him off the mic slightly? Like, what's going through your brain?
Yeah, so for me, it's very much like a creative effect.
Uh-huh.
It's less about like, for this particular vocal, for a lead vocal, right? I know I want this to be up front and be in the spotlight,
Right.
right? Any kind of reverb that I add is an enhancement move, so it's meant to just create space around that vocal
Right.
as an effect, as a creative effect. So width, use some of this front to back, this perceived front to back plane inside of the mix here. And I'm just going based on gut, man. I'm going based on instinct here. There's no like formula for that.
No, for
how
sure.
how does it feel? I'm really just kind of playing with stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just experimenting.
Yeah.
I'm turning it up. I'm turning it down. I'm seeing how it feels in the mix.
And, did the
And going from there.
Before you added reverb, was the dry vocal kind of like pulling you out of the song in a way and making you think like...
It felt like a little bit karaoke to me,
okay.
right? Where we've
The
got,
vocal is separate from the rest.
yeah, where we've got this vocal on an island, and then here's the rest of the instruments,
Uh-huh.
right?
So
So-
same island. Trying to get
Same
the-
island, yeah.
Yeah.
Make it
Okay.
sound a little bit more cohesive, like it's
Sure.
all meant to be together. And sometimes that's the move. Sometimes the move is just dry vocal,
Right. Yeah.
But for this, I don't know. I wanted to play with a little bit of reverb here, just to see how it glued in.
So it is about like fitting in.
Yeah, cohesion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
What
cohesive.
about pre-delay? Do you ever like fiddle with that? Or
Yes, I actually have a pre-delay on this one. Up to, like start at 80 milliseconds.
always forget. So the lower the pre-delay, like the closer it seems.
Yeah, so if I had this pre-delay all the way at 0,
Yeah.
it's saying wait 0 milliseconds to fire your
Okay,
to
you're right.
fire the
So it
reverb.
brings it right there.
Yeah, to fire the reverb. So it's now here I'm saying Mr. Reverb or Mrs. Reverb, wait 80 milliseconds to fire the reverb.
So let him start singing.
Based on this.
for
So
80 milliseconds.
he'll sing for 80 milliseconds and then the reverb will fire,
Sure.
right?
He
Rather.
establishes it, yeah.
So what this does is it kind of disconnects the reverb from the vocal and allows the vocal, it has this effect that allows the vocal to feel like it's up front in the mix a little bit more.
Right. So it stays
Right.
clear.
Yeah, nice and
from the
clear,
rest.
detaching a little bit. Yeah, totally.
I've always wondered about
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
So there's like a slappiness to it, right? I'll keep going.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
Hear the difference?
Possibly
So,
almost like an echo.
Obviously, like, yeah, so that's like obviously like exaggerated effect, right? But yeah, it's kind of slappy, right? It's kind of like an echo.
And live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die. Pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'll die.
Just gonna mark this.
I chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
And I'm going to compress these together. See, just to see what it sounds like.
I'm chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm chasing a dream.
Here, it's mushing these vocals all together. You know, they're gluing all those vocals together. I'll put it. I'm gonna get an apples to apples.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
So I like the effect, but not so much of it. So I'm just gonna roll back the mix knob. Actually, I don't like that either.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. Chasing a dream, chasing a dream, chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
They make these vocals like a cohesive unit here. And you can take it or leave it. Like, is this going to be the thing that makes people turn off the song? Like, one way or the other? Probably not. This is just a taste thing. I just like the way it sounds.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. Chasing a dream.
I'm releasing the attack. I'm slowing the attack just a little bit. I think it's clamping down just a little too aggressively.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
I'm happy with that. Very, very subtle
So Jake, you put
kind of thing.
the reverbs on the individual tracks, right?
Nope. I
You
put
did it on the bus?
right on the bus. Yep, so they're all getting it.
I'm chasing a dream, living in between.
What's that? What's that,
Oh,
Christina?
right before the compressor, that virtual channel, what is that again?
Saturation.
Okay.
That's a console emulation. Yep.
Would you
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is that like another voice that's just pitched like way high up, or is that like some sort of feedback from the reverb?
This?
17 and 70 in a dream.
That's just a voice. That's just a voice carrying over.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you consider some vocal line?
Not at this stage.
Chasing a dream, living in between.
I'm okay with it.
17 and 70. I
put some delay on that too. I think we can kind of experiment with some swimmy sounding vocals here. If we go with it, great. If not, that's fine too. Get some delay.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
See if that plays.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high.
You know what would be good for this? Ooh. Let's play.
I think that's super cool. Is that a production idea in a way, or is that like I'm having fun as a mixer and I'm gonna see if they enjoy this?
Yeah,
Too?
that.
Okay.
That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, I think it's a super cool idea.
Let's see what we got
Because
here.
he's high and he's swimming and he's like.
It's very dream. I mean,
lots of clues.
chasing the dream, right?
There
So
you
it's
go.
like, yeah. Let's. Turn that off.
I know I'm so down right now with that tape rolling. It really seems like that tape is going to get tangled up if it keeps doing that. If I sit here and watch it long enough.
It's giving me anxiety.
Yeah, I'm a little paranoid from this stuff. I shouldn't have.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Sounds cool, right?
Chasing a dream, living in.
That's Jedediah's favorite part.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Let's see how that fits.
Is this just second chorus you're doing this for?
No, all choruses.
I'll die.
Here it is by itself.
I'll die.
Here it is with the stellar echo.
I'll die.
Let's see how it is in the mix. Sorry, Christina, go ahead.
Oh no, you put it on the individual track or on the mix button?
No, I actually put it on this, I swapped out my delay on my aux track for it. So instead of just like my regular delay plugin, I put the stellar echo on this Vox delay aux track, and then I sent the entire vocal bus signal to that aux.
Ah, okay. That's
All the
why.
vocals are getting this?
Yep.
But not the verse.
All the vocal, well, the verse is getting it too. We'll have to automate it off
All right.
for the verses, yeah. Or automate it down. We'll get there.
I'll die. Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Let me dial it back a little bit.
I'll die chasing
difference?
Slave to the melodies.
Literally sounds finished and not finished.
Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool effect.
Super cool.
I want to change the timing on the tape head. I don't know how to do it though on this plugin.
What are you hearing that you want to fix?
I want this to be a quarter note instead of an eighth note. I think I just have to go in here. I'll just go to custom. It's fine. Quarter note. And then we'll turn all these other ones off.
But at least I'm free.
Yeah. Yep.
Free E instead of free E.
Well, I mean, we might be able to do a ping pong also.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Well, let's change the type of
I'll
reverb.
die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
You hear the plate reverb? So this plug, it's not just delay, right? It's reverb and delay.
It's closer to your first idea, but it sounds really rich.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
kind of taken away from the intimacy that we first started with.
It is. I mean, it is. It's a different approach.
But you'll get it in the verse.
It's a different approach, for sure. And we're just playing. We're just giving ourselves a little bit of license to play around and experiment, and you know. But you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're dead on.
Guy right in the room with you.
You're dead on. You're dead on right.
Now, what if you change the order? It's different now. It's set to a different buzz.
It doesn't matter. The order of this doesn't matter.
Like where you place the echo.
Exactly. Like this is just creating a copy of a signal and sending it to an aux track. Same thing with this one, right? So it's not like the signal passes through this processing and into this one. It's like literally a copy and then a separate copy
How
here.
much of this? How much
You
of
know, right.
that? It's just additive.
Yep, we're taking this signal here. It's here. That's a copy of that signal. This is a copy of it. So it doesn't, the order of the buses, or the sends, I should say, doesn't matter there. Oh, sorry. I jumped the gun. Go ahead.
It takes me so long to do the technical easy stuff. Like, did you set up your template for your session before? I wasn't here.
I did,
Yeah,
yes.
you had it.
I need to do that.
Yep,
I know.
yep. That's the only thing that's in my template is those wet effects. You know, I set up those wet effects first. Let's keep going. Let's.
I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
Yeah.
I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Yeah. I'm liking it so far. I do want to take down the treble a little bit on the, because I'm hearing too much of the echo and not enough of the reverb on the echo.
High on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
So the reason I'm pulling down the treble is to kind of like push it back a little bit without frequency-wise. You know, I'm not pushing it back volume-wise,
Yeah.
but I'm just kind of like giving it its own front-to-back space by reducing the treble.
Right. Also, the memory CCs was, you're getting like that Sibilance a few times.
Yeah, the SSSSS, right? Yep, just kind of blending. I'm just trying to blend it a little bit more.
High on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
we're hearing a little bit of it, but I still think it's cool. I'm going to turn up the reverb level just a little bit more on those, and then I'll be happy.
I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Very, very nice unit. Every time I play with it, I find something I like. Let's check out the verse. Probably have to automate it down a little bit. It's not as swimmy.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something.
Now it's distracting, right?
Yep. Brendan is really exerting self-control right now.
You read my mind. I used to like that. I don't know. It seems cheap.
I know what you mean. Like when you think about it.
It's a good way to hide
It's like a
stuff.
go-to kind of.
It is a good way to hide stuff.
Right,
That was my first, like,
Right.
biggest problem.
Right.
Was using way too much I put when I was first learning this stuff, yeah, I was putting reverb on everything, man.
When I first started like 4-track recording in the 80s, you know, I was young and I didn't like the sound of my own.
Well, in the 80s, everything had reverb anyway.
Well,
yeah, it's a good way to like.
I was
if
trying
you
to
didn't get a
hide the
good
sound of
vocal
my own
track,
voice that I didn't
Yeah.
like when I was 23.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
your tracks probably got better, Jake, and then your reverb got better.
Real quick.
Practice singing.
Yeah, it's like it's more exposing, I think.
You got your
For sure.
Your
And I
lead
think that's good
vocal,
quality,
or
especially for this
like your
song.
lead verse and your lead chorus,
such
and so you usually just copy paste whatever processing you use on the verse onto the chorus.
So, not all the time.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. Sometimes I can put them on the same track, you know, verse and chorus, and like lead vocal could just be one track and then the processing works for it, right? But these vocals are clearly different. Like, and I feel like they may have also been tracked differently. You know, maybe with like slightly different settings or different distances from the microphone or something. And although I didn't really do like a lot of EQ changes or anything like that, I did just kind of like bump up this verse like a decibel. You know, I've got a different compression setting on it. So I don't know. I just like to have control when they're obviously different from each other.
You're talking about a separate track for this.
Yeah.
And why you would do that?
Well, I personally don't. I like keeping everything on one. You know.
I would
no matter
rather.
what. Right.
I would rather.
Keep the same
You know,
processing.
simple.
But,
I only have to do it once.
right.
You know? But not for this one.
I see the advantage.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
you can play with like the space and stuff when the chorus kicks in.
And I wasn't sure if we would have to do, we might still have to do some EQ stuff on this one.
Stay forever young and live for the chase.
So I'm gonna take this
Drive on.
and just throw it. So we're gonna create like a second track here. I'm gonna call it lead verse throw.
For the chase. Live for the chase. Drive on.
And we're gonna take that, we're gonna filter it out, kind of like this radio effect.
Yeah, cool. Love that.
And then I might actually throw it to the sides too. So I'm using that sample delay technique that we talked about earlier, that stereo delay technique, the Haas delay it's also called. Delaying just one side. Right.
Live for the chase.
That sounds like that.
For the chase. Drive all night.
So I don't know about the timing though. Timing sounds a little goofy to me. Might have to oogie it around.
For the chase. Drive.
Know what I mean? For the chase. Yeah.
Live for the chase.
No.
and live for the chase.
Let's think about this singing in our heads here.
And live for the chase. For the chase. Drive out, stay forever young, and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost story for the chase. For the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. For the chase.
Yeah, the timing is just a little weird.
But
Oh.
the 4 is so long.
Yeah, he's really
You don't get
taken
the choice to make it shorter.
liberties with it. I would love for him to have sung it, but as a throw. That's okay.
Stage, stay forever young, and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die. Ghosts are real. They're real.
I can do. I don't know. I'm gonna do it somewhere.
You can do like live, start with live.
I'm gonna do it somewhere.
Start it even. Exactly.
Ghosts are real.
We'll just kind of like trail that off a little bit.
Ghosts are real.
Like that kind of thing.
Ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melody.
I don't like that.
That's the first time I'd heard that. Right before you isolated it.
We're just gonna put a reverb.
This is a plug.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the tone though.
I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Really like the kind of like glue, but we're gonna take down the high end on that tambourine. You guys with me here? I skipped over to the tambourine.
Yep.
I was just hearing it in the moment and I chased it.
Living in between 17 and 70. I'm high.
I just feel like that makes a lot of really good use of the space, and glues that section together a little bit more. Before it was just kind of like really kind of up front and disjointed. Oh, what is going on? Is that the? That's the actual sound. I thought it was dry too. Interesting. So it was meant to have a bunch of space on it anyway.
Chasing a dream,
Here.
living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on
Now I'm gonna toss.
Every other snare hit?
Yeah, so now I'm gonna toss on our reverb. I'm gonna get back to our original volume level here.
chasing a dream, living in between 17.
I just think it's a cooler atmosphere for this section, you know? A little bit more subtle.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
I'm gonna keep it there.
I'm high on memories,
Yeah,
straight
dreamy.
to the melody.
Dreamy, yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly right. That's the idea, anyway. Cool. Back to vocals. So we're gonna automate the second verse here the same way we did the first. Just kind of bring out that space echo.
Second verse,
Same as the first. And this is the really exposed vocal here, right?
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die.
Okay, so I took down the stellar echo all the way on this one. Vocal is really, really up front. This is where we're going to be a little bit more intimate with it.
There's an open hi-hat sound in there too that only comes like in one part of the verse, I think.
We're gonna figure it out. See what's up with that.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living
Now I'm noticing that tambourine.
between.
What's that?
On
Yeah.
the set, only like the fifth or sixth beat is like the loudest.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all different.
because the vocals come out for that moment and then
They're dynamically
just comes in.
17, 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least
I'm gonna add a little bit of room to that shaker so that it's not super dry. I like the drums pretty dry.
living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies.
It's just an enhancement opportunity. Just making it bigger, putting it in a space.
But at least I'm free.
I'm going to control this harmonica a little bit. Again, jumping around here, I think we've done the majority of our vocal mixing here. So now I'm just moving on to like enhancement opportunities. I'm going to handle this harmonica and then we'll take another quick break. So I'm really just gonna, I'm not gonna use the compressor. I'm just gonna use a limiter instead. And I'm just gonna address like this really kind of big peak here. That's the one that's bothering me. I think there's some really cool like human kind of like dynamics happening here with that harmonica that I don't want to completely squash. I might just volume automate it. Yeah, I think I am going to volume automate it. I just don't like what any of that stuff is doing. I want to preserve kind of like that natural feel of that harmonica. Sounds awesome. It's cool. Even pull up some of this other stuff. Pull up some of this other stuff over here. Not too much. Well, we'll just bring that down. And we'll probably have to do it with this one too, right? It's like moves like right up into your face just to play that one.
Cash poor.
And I think I'll put the same kind of reverb on that harmonica.
Which
The vocal verb.
the plate?
Yeah, the plate. I might just still tap this. Little roof on it. Roof on the top. Just with the limiter, just keeping it under control so we can place it in the mix nicely and not have it go crazy on us. Very nice. it's a good place to break for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, what do you think?
That's great.
Want to get back into it?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. We're just gonna do kind of like a listen through here and see where we're at.
Yeah, we were so segmented.
Totally. Let's experience the song as a whole. We'll just kind of like take some notes, see what we got going on. You know, these tracks are pretty awesome. Like they're pretty great right out of the gate. I'm not hearing a lot of issues. The recording engineer, the producer was really, really, really good. You know, we haven't even used hardly anything on a lot of this stuff, you know, and it's already sounded pretty great. We'll have to download some references also, pull in some references and just kind of see where they sit, you know.
We did a lot of stuff globally. That's probably
Totally, yeah. So
On Fix the Mix, you always did like 2 different kinds of reverb on each, like on the instruments, and
Yeah,
then 2
yeah.
different reverbs on the vocals, and so you're
just
not doing any of that.
yep, just not doing it
Just not
today.
doing it.
Yeah, just a different method, you know.
Yeah.
We teach you that method to start with, and then feel free to explore other stuff, you know, and land on something that works for you. Typically, I am just using like my go-to vocal wet effects, and then I've got a plugin or 2 that I'll just slap on specific instruments, like you saw me do today. Not necessarily use an insert for things, or not necessarily use an aux track for things, right? So I'm just using it as like an insert. For example, the tambourine. You don't just put a reverb plugin directly on the track instead of sending it to an aux track or something like that. A lot of these tracks have reverb baked in, right? Already. Very kind of like, we could probably add some reverb to that, depending on what else is going on in the mix.
Yeah, then the drums, we never did anything to the
Drums, yeah.
Way to take reverb off of something that's baked in.
Drum set. Sounds like there's already like a little bit of kind of like room ambience on those drums anyway, right? We can play with it. That's what's great about having great tracks, is you can spend time just looking at enhancement opportunities and playing with things rather than having to fix things, you know? Anyway.
Those are non-organic drums, correct?
I believe these were actually recorded. Yep. And then some bounced down.
I see. and
Yeah.
compressed.
Yep, exactly. There's effects on them already. It would have been really nice to get like the hi-hat,
Sure.
you know, apart from the kick snare loop, right? Just to have a little bit more of that kind of high end. If you listen really closely, you can hear it.
Stage.
Barely tapping it. But then you have those open parts. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, it's just not what we got. Anyway, let's take a listen from the top.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I died chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Really not a lot to do here, you know. I've just got some, a few kind of notes
Yep, wrote
to
that
kind
one
of
down.
like punch through here. You know, what's that?
The drum section.
Similar notes.
The crashes.
Can't forget, and I died chasing a dream.
Let's get those first crashes.
I'll die chasing a dream.
Here at that time. And let's make it swimmier. I'm going to turn down the level of reverb here and just kind of see what we can. Do with that. Versus. Hear the difference? Bigger, wider.
Forget, and I died chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high.
Acoustic lead reverb next. Already has some reverb on it. Right, it felt drier. So I think I might even use the vocal reverb, the plate, to see what that does. Like the plate on that. Just playing around. Do another Valhalla.
Pocket change, take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
I might be going down a bit of a rabbit hole on this vocal for a second. Bear with me.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream. Pocket change, take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
There's something I don't like about the high end on that vocal.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal.
So I'm just trying to figure out where it is. I'm getting picky with it now.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. Act strange for
Oh,
some
I'm sorry. I wanted to hit that into the next section.
ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream.
Kind of like making it a little bit darker.
Poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget. And I'll die chasing a dream, living.
I like that. It's getting there. Did you guys catch what I did there on the verse vocal? I just rolled it off from 10K and above. Just getting out all that kind of like airy kind of hissiness. And there's still a little bit in here. We can get like super surgical with it. But that's for another day, I think.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage.
Maybe not. Or maybe I lied. Let's see.
Stay forever young and live for the chase. Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
I'm going to leave it there for now.
Sounds better.
Really just taking out this like 2 to 4K, like this airiness, this kind of like kind of like hissy kind of sound. Totally. Yep. Absolutely.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost stories and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
Is it taking it out of the reverb? Is that where you're...
Nope.
No?
The vocal
The
itself.
vocal itself, okay.
Yep.
Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
That's obviously extreme, right?
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. trade ghost stories
Hear it now?
and see how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real. Act strange for some pocket change. Take a little something to get up on stage. Stay forever young and live for the chase.
Making it a little bit easier to listen to.
Drive all night, it's part of the deal. Trade ghost
This plugin is
stories
aptly
and
named,
see
right?
how it feels to convince yourself that ghosts are real.
Grabbing those big S's and stuff like that, right?
Act strange for some pocket.
Anyway, we don't need to hear that section again. We took care of the harmonica, right? Turn that up a little bit. Did I? Did I actually do that? Yep, reverb. Turning up the harmonica, adding a little bit of reverb. I'm actually gonna make it a little bit drier. Good right there.
It's nice to have a real entrance for that.
Oh yeah,
Feels good.
yeah.
Yeah, that bass.
You don't like it?
Well, especially in that verse when it's so exposed, it sounds thumpy and thin to me.
Yeah.
The only thing that's
It's okay.
was
Okay.
like the vocals in the chorus when it came in.
Uh-huh.
It was big, but it almost felt like it was. I don't know if I'm used to just we've been listening to this over
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a couple hours, so I might have the first version in my head, but it felt
Sounds
just
like
a little
it.
too big. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like in comparison to the verse.
It might be.
So,
Yep, might be. Yes, I was thinking Paul McCartney as well. Like just round wound
Yeah.
strings and a semi-hollow or that violin bass there, just kind of plucking them.
I don't know if you use that
Plucking 'em up.
right album. It's either Rick or Fender Jazz. But it's the tone, yeah.
It's a pick though.
I mean, what would you do to it?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like saturation or tossing an amp on it, or I mean we could do.
I really love Chris Lord Alge's bass plugin.
I don't have that. I'm trying to get less plugins.
High on memories, slave to time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream.
Not really changing a whole lot there. let's see. I'm just curious to see what would happen if we were to toss it through something.
Bass amp?
Yeah.
Press around that at all?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I like the Logic bass amp.
Burp. Keep it right, a little less mid-range, a little bit more kind of bass. Scooping out the mids and adding some fatness underneath. It does take away that tone, you know.
Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream.
It's
Film completely.
it supports the low end better, I think.
I'm high on memories, slave to
And I just put a limiter on there so it's very stable in the mix. It's not poking out.
but at least I'm free.
You know, the only thing I don't like about that is now it's an issue with the kick. The kick starts to disappear now.
In between 17 and 70, I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. Time rich, cash poor, hard living, hotel floor, sunrise and sunset, some things you can't forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories,
There are vocal effects back.
slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
I think that's cool. I'm gonna bring in some references here. Just gonna pick like all of these country references that I have, not knowing if any of them are gonna work. Let's see.
You could put them all in the plug-in together
Yep.
at the same time.
Yep, there they are. And I can switch between them.
Some things you sunrise, but at least I'm free. Sunset, chasing a dream,
Yeah.
living in between 17 and 70.
Let's go like a little bit of a different vibe.
Forget, and I'll die, and forget, and I'll die. Chasing a dream, living in between 70.
So far, high end is the main difference there.
And forget, and I'll die. Chasing a dream,
High end, right? But those are very high end heavy songs.
and forget, and I'll die. Chasing a dream, all for me to do the right thing. 17 to 70, thing, baby. I'm high
Ballparking, totally. I'm in the realm.
and forget, and I'll die. Chasing that freedom, chasing that feeling that got gone too soon. Chasing that dream, 70 and married.
It's high end so far. That's gonna be lots of high end.
Around without a looking, chasing a dream, own hometown, living in home, 17 to 70.
Ooh, that one's not even gonna be in the mix.
And forget, and I'll die. Chasing a dream in my own hometown, living in between 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. And forget, and I'll die. Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
Well, we've also been listening to this song for a long time, and we've got our ears have calibrated to like a very particular
Yeah.
like sonic profile, right? But all I did here was add some shimmer to the mix bus to just kind of lift all of that high end. Let's see what that did.
And forget,
Shimmer is like an exciter. It's an exciter. So it will add like harmonic content to excite the high end or excite the low end if we wanted to use that knob, right?
So do you have it set to high end?
Yep. So the top knob is labeled shimmer, and that's just high end, the high end side of things.
All right.
And then the lower knob is just going to be like more bass, right?
and forget, and I'll die. Chasing
Right.
a dream,
And then there's our high end.
living in between.
So I first tried an EQ just to like shelf up 7.5K and above, but it just felt like way too harsh to me. So I was like, okay, like, let's try a different tool. Let's try something that might sound a little bit smoother. And I just know the plugin and know the tool, so thought that this might be a better play there. And it does. It adds kind of like that tickly, kind of like high end without being overly harsh to me. So we'll kind of compare this against our references and see if we're in the ballpark here. But I'm just doing that across the entire mix right now. Just kind of like a quick fix kind of deal.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream. Getting kinda hard for me to do that in between 17 and 70. I'm high.
I'm gonna do it my way, it'll be alright.
Just gonna take that one out.
Did the nurse come get you? It's your alibi. I'm in a way back to years ago. Too late, and that's where you expand. I'm in a way back to late, and that's where you'll be forgotten.
Like, these are all pop songs, so they're gonna be hyped in the high end anyway.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream.
It's where you'll be forgotten.
Living in between.
It's probably the closest one.
17 and 70. I'm high.
That fits in a playlist.
Chasing a dream.
I'm happy with that. Questions?
So you have like a reference library that has genre-specific folders where you kind of make that a homework thing and you do it that way, or do you?
I do. And honestly, like, that was just a down and dirty way for me to get some references in. You know, we talked about this a little bit earlier too. I would talk to the client and get some specific songs in. Yeah, what's the target? You know, what are you trying to hit? And then use that as like my anchor,
Yeah, for sure.
basically. Today, I just went based on gut. But these songs that I brought in were just songs that I've used previously for previous projects and other Fix the Mixes.
Never thought of like making a folder of the references
This is
I
a
have
hard
used.
song to reference.
So obvious.
I can't think of anything specific that would be good.
Yeah. No.
Like most of Roger Miller's songs would
Right,
probably be
right,
too
right.
dark.
They might be, you know, and all of these, I've used these for these specific references for like pop country kind of stuff.
Right.
So there is like an element of like high end and the kind of like overcooking
Yeah.
those upper mids and kind of like the highs a little bit inside of that genre.
totally, yeah. You can
But
always-
every mix is made different,
Yeah.
you know, and that's about as far as I'm willing to push this one in terms of the high end. It starts to just kind of like break up and sound harsh and stuff like that. What else? What other questions, guys?
Slate does have a fresh air free plugin called Fresh Air.
I can't use that without sounding harsh.
Oh, right.
I just can't. I know a lot of people that use that plugin and have a lot of success with it, but I don't know what it is. I just don't get along with it for some reason. And I'm a diehard like Slate guy, you know, like I'm using all Slate stuff.
Well,
Just
they're
EQ,
simple.
like different curves in an EQ where you are not necessarily shelving, but you're kind of slowly lifting that high end. So there's a gentle curve and it adds air.
We could do that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen you've got someone do it.
Yeah.
Dane do it.
Yeah. Totally. I like playing with the, I don't know,
Right.
the one or two knob plugins that make it happen.
Pultec will do that too, to some
Yes,
degree, right?
yeah, totally. Like if we wanted to do this and experiment with like getting a little bit more high end with a Pultec, fine. You know, we could turn that off or clairphonic. Yep.
I think I got a reference track for you. Use it on
Where's my EQ? Right. So we've got high frequencies here on the Pultec, right? And we can choose to boost that.
Chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70.
This was 12. This was 12, yeah.
I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies.
Yeah, I think that's a sweet spot for me is 12.
But at least I'm free.
And let's compare that. Go back.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in
I like that better.
17 and 7.
Get like an apples to apples here. So what I'll
One
do,
is smooth and one feels still slightly more aggressive.
yeah, let's see. Let's see.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream,
Prefer this, personally.
living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that one. I like it.
But at least I'm free.
But you know, you can sit here all day and
Sure,
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, you know, everything, like everything in the world. There's got to be a point where you're just like, hey, okay, this is close enough. This is in the ballpark, you know.
Client giving you a reference track is so helpful.
So important.
That's what I was saying. You're not far off from this one as a reference track. That's what I was saying the whole time I was playing this song.
What is it?
Ian Noah's Tom Barrett.
I'll grab it. Seems like this is the one. It's the only result.
Not ready to
Let's see here. I just buy them. Whatever. Download. It's $1. It's fine. I'm just going to charge mastering.com. Don't worry about it. It's $1. It's $1. Come on. I'm American. Come on. All right. Yeah, let's see what this is all about.
And forget, and I'll die.
I'll use a Wilco song too.
And forget, and I'll die.
Look at this. Right on. Good. Nice. Right on. Yeah, really. I'm calling you. I'm calling you next time I need a reference track. How do you guys feel?
Good, man. Really good.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Any final questions? Hit me. Anything.
Really
I
great.
like the song better than I did at first.
Yeah. Do you want to do an A/B? Do you want to do A/B? Let's do that. Yeah. Widen. I didn't even do that.
You just made it soft,
Yeah, I just turned it down.
but it's a good idea.
Based on Christina's
What was
suggestion.
that other note? Oh no, that's just a
It's just, yeah. But I think initially I was thinking, you know, it's got a lot of reverb on it.
Right.
Like, let's add another reverb to widen it up. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff. It's, again, this,
Global reverb on, so.
priority, like it's not going to be the thing that makes somebody like shut off the song or anything like that. And if we had time, we'd play with it a little bit, but we don't. Instead, we're just going to A-B. Here we go.
Is this pre-mixed or pre? Okay.
This is, I'm going to just take everything off.
Can you also listen louder?
Yeah. Well, sure. If you want.
Man, showing your true colors.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free. And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melody.
Hear the difference?
Yeah, we're cheating a little bit on volume, it seems like.
I'm going to put a gain plugin on there for sure.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream,
I think that's closer, is it?
living in between 17 and 70. I'm high
Screwed it up.
and forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
One more time.
And forget, and I'll die chasing a dream, living in between 17 and 70. I'm high on memories, slave to the melodies, but at least I'm free.
That's a mix. That's a mix, folks.